Today we're checking out the Bring Arts Kingdom Hearts 3 The King. So hope you guys have an awesome day. Thank you so much for watching, and let's get into it. Hey, what is going on, guys? Today we're checking out the Bring Arts Kingdom Hearts 3 The King. So yeah guys, I'm pretty excited to check this figure out. This is the very first Mickey Mouse figure that I've ever picked up, so I'm pretty excited to show this to you guys. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to check out this video. I really appreciate it. Leave a suggestion in the comments below for what video you guys want to see next. If there's any figures you want me to review, any videos at all, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll try my best to make it. So as always, thank you guys so much for all the support in this video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. And yeah, let's get into it. Alright, and so here's a look at the front of the packaging. And so I've got to say, I love the packaging for these Bring Arts figures. As you can see, we have a very nice window display to showcase the figure inside the box. So if you want to keep the figure inside the box, you can, and you will still get a very nice look at the figure. And here's a look at the side of the box. And so here's just a quick look at the back of the packaging. So right here we have some screenshots of the figure in various poses. And down here we have some text, credits and logos on the making of the figure. And so here's just a quick look at the packaging for my other Bring Arts Kingdom Hearts figures. I'm gonna have a whole bunch of Kingdom Hearts reviews coming up this month, so I really hope that you guys will enjoy them. I mean, this is the whole reason why I make YouTube videos, to help you guys out with these figures. Look forward to plenty of Bring Arts and Players Kai figure reviews coming up this month. And so here's just a quick look at the inside of the packaging. So yeah, here's the figure itself. It looks to be a very nice piece. I really cannot wait to check this figure out. So yeah, we have some interchangeable head sculpts, we have the keyblades, we have the tail, and here we have the display stand for the figure, we have the instructions on how to assemble the figure, and of course we have the packaging. Alright guys, and so here we have the figure out of the packaging. And yeah guys, I gotta say, this is a really fantastic figure. As I mentioned, this is my very first Mickey Mouse figure that I've ever purchased, so yeah, I'm pretty impressed with it. It's a pretty nice piece for the most part. Nice sculpt, nice paint job, nice variety of accessories, and yeah, overall it's just a very nice looking figure. Now there are a couple of issues with this figure. Some of the joints just aren't strong enough, and the joints actually pop off very easily, which I'll show you guys a little bit later on. But yeah, that's the main problem with this figure. It's a very nice piece apart from the issues. So yeah guys, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the Bring Arts Kingdom Hearts 3 The King. Stay tuned guys. Alright, and so here's a look at the head sculpts. So the head sculpt is pretty good. As you guys seen before, there's a total of 3 head sculpts that come with this figure, so I'll give you guys a look at those a little bit later on. But yeah, for the most part, it's a pretty nicely sculpted headpiece. I haven't really had any problems with the paint job. The paint job is pretty clean on this figure, so that's definitely a plus. And as you can see, the sculpt is very crisp and clean. It's a very sharp sculpt, which I really like in particular with this figure. I love how they did the ears. The ears are really nicely done. It's I mean, it's very iconic looking to the character, and I think he's very screen accurate. I mean, I don't really think there's any problems with this figure in terms of the appearance. So yeah, it's a pretty solid piece. And so here's a look at the Keyblade. So I really love this Keyblade. I just love the design, I love the sculpts, and I also love the paint job. As you can see, its colors are very kind of sparkly purple type of color with all these kind of stars. So I think it looks really cool. It's definitely one of my favorite looking Keyblades. So now the Keyblade does split into 2 pieces, so it's much easier to fit the Keyblade into his hand. So I really like that feature about this figure. And so guys, we gotta point out the keychain. So as you can see, this Keyblade has a real chain. I'm quite surprised because usually Bring Arts and Players Kai, they don't use real chain on their figures, so I'm really quite surprised and amazed. I mean, it's a very small detail, but for me personally, I just love the fact that yeah, they use real metal chain. So yeah, that's a really nice touch on this figure. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out there. And so here's a look at the body piece. With this coat and all these pockets, of course they cannot open up, but they're very nicely sculpted. And this jacket piece is also made out of like a soft piece of plastic, so it's quite bendy, quite pliable. I think the body is quite nicely done. I just love all the detailing here in the jacket. And I quite like the color scheme with the blacks and the reds and the yellows. It just kind of matches very nicely. And so here's a quick look at the boots. They're very out of proportionate, as you can see. But yeah, I think they work pretty well, and of course it's very screen accurate. This is how he looked in the game, so yeah, there's really nothing that I can complain about here. And once again, it's very nicely painted and detailed. So yeah, there's a quick look at the front of the figure. And so here we have a look at the side of the figure. So yeah, here's a look at the profile of his face. And yeah, it's a really great profile. I mean, it pretty much looks exactly like how we did in the game. So yeah, I really do love this figure a lot. I really love this head sculpt. I mean, you can really see how clean the paint job is here at the side of his face. It's probably one of the cleanest paint jobs that I've seen on any Bring Arts figure out there. And once again, just a quick look at the real metal chain at the handle of the Keyblade. Absolutely love that chain. And there's a look at the end of the Keyblade and the boots. And so just a quick look at the other side of the figure. So once again, we have a nice profile of his face. Such a nice, clean, sharp sculpt. And it's moving down here to the arm and hand. And I guess here's a look at the tail. So the tail is pretty nicely done. It's made of one piece of plastic, and it's on a swivel joint, so it's got some articulation in there. It's actually pretty difficult to get the tail onto the figure. And yeah, here's a look at the sides of the boots. And so here's a look at the back of the figure. And so you can really see how smooth it is on the back of his head. There's really no texture in here on the back whatsoever. And so yeah, there's a look at the back of the hood with the little, like, I guess they're ears, which is pretty cute looking. And yeah, there's a look at the back of the tail as well, which as I mentioned, it's pretty tricky to get this tail on to the figure. I had some trouble trying to get this tail on, so yeah, that was another problem that I had of this figure. Alright, and so let's go ahead and take a look at the 3 alternate head sculpts that come with this figure. So yeah, let's go ahead and check them out. So first up here, this is the head sculpt that we've already seen. This is the head sculpt that I've had on the figure for the entire review so far. And so next up here, this head sculpt is pretty similar. But of course the biggest difference is that the mouth is open. You can kind of see the detailing inside his mouth, which is pretty cool. It's actually quite nicely detailed, so yeah, there's a look at that head sculpt. And lastly here, we have this head sculpt, which is the angry head sculpt. I guess he's kind of mad, or you could use this head sculpt for a fighting pose. So yeah, there's a look at all 3 head sculpts that come with the figure. And so let's go ahead and take a look at the articulation for the figure. So right here at the head, he has a ball joint, and so it's quite a nice joint. It's got quite a nice range of motion. Here at the shoulders, he has a peg joint, which is a very loose joint. It's pops off pretty easily, as you can see. And yeah, that goes for both shoulders. They pop off super easily, so that is definitely a problem with this figure. Moving on here to the elbows, he has single hinge joints in there. And here at the wrists, he has a ball joint. Here at the, I guess the waist area of the figure, he has a ball joint in there. And also at the hips, he has ball joints, which also has quite a nice range of motion. It's not too restricted by the clothing. And here at the feet, he has ball joints as well. And so on the back of the tail, he has a swivel joint, which is, as I mentioned, super tricky to get into the figure. But yeah, there's a look at the articulation for the figure. Okay, and so here's a quick look at my entire collection of Bring Arts Kingdom Hearts free figures. So yeah, this is my entire collection, which I've been collecting for about a year now. And yeah, I've pretty much got all the main characters from the game, so yeah, I'm pretty happy enough. So let's take a look at what we have here. So first up, we have the Heartless 2-pack. I absolutely love those figures. I really hope that they make more. Next up, we have Riku. And next up, we have the second form Sora figure, which was my very first Bring Arts Kingdom Hearts figure. Next up here at the back we have Sephiroth, the one-winged angel himself. And here we have Axel, which is probably one of my favorite figures in my entire collection. And next up here, of course, we have the King. We have Mickey Mouse himself. And then next up here we have Kairi, which is also a very nice piece. It's very fragile, but it looks really good. And next up here we have another form, Cloud, which is also one of my favorite figures in this collection. And lastly here we have the Pirate Sora figure. So yeah guys, just a look at my entire collection of Bring Arts Kingdom Hearts 3 figures. So yeah guys, that was a look at the Bring Arts Kingdom Hearts 3 The King. So yeah guys, this is a very nice figure. I mean, if you guys are a big fan of Kingdom Hearts or of this character of Mickey Mouse, then yeah, you will really love this figure. As I mentioned, this was my very first Mickey Mouse figure that I've ever purchased, so for me personally, I really love this piece, and I think if you're a big fan of Kingdom Hearts, then I think you will really like this piece. So yeah, I recommend going ahead and pick him up. He's a very spot on figure. So yeah, anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, leave a suggestion in the comments below for what video you guys want me to make next. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. And yeah, I will catch you guys on the next video. Alright, bye guys.